The other day, I gotta go see Godzilla minus one in the theater, and as someone who's not a Godzilla fan, I loved it. Before we jump into the review, I just want to say two things. One being, I went to go see the black and white version of Godzilla minus one, so Godzilla minus one minus color. It's like this special edition that it was a re-release, so I won't be able to talk about the really cool colors or some of the visuals in this movie. And so that was one. Two being I'm not a Godzilla fan. I This is the first Godzilla movie I've ever seen. Like I've never seen a Godzilla movie, so I can't compare them to the other movies at all. But let's get into the review.
With that out of the way, let's get into the good.
This movie does a lot of things good and very, very little bad. Um, it it's great from the characters, the plot, even the theme, the setting. Everything's great. Um, the setting is really good. I think. Actually, the name of the movie minus one is taken from the setting, and yeah, the setting is post World War II Japan. Our characters are at a very low place. Everything's just torn to shreds. Our main character, he goes back. He shouldn't be alive, but he is, and you learn that he was a kamikaze pilot, and just when he goes back to Japan, everyone is the people that he has told that he was a kamikaze pilot, or they found out, don't like him or think down upon him because he didn't die for his country. Really, really ugly stuff like that. Um, he's just at this very low place, and then Godzilla comes and messes up his life even more. So pretty much minus one. I had to look this up to find out, but like Japan was at such a low place, and then Godzilla comes and bumps it down lower, kicks it down a notch, minus one, below zero. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, the characters are really, really well written. You at times you don't know what decisions they're gonna make, or even if the characters are antagonists or protagonists. There's this one character. He's the mechanic that was on the island with the main character in the beginning of the movie, like the opening scene, and you don't know if he's a antagonist or protagonist till the end of the movie. He's not in the movie much, but it's a cool thing that's in that movie. The main character is actually guilty for so many deaths in this movie. In the beginning, he's guilty for a bunch of deaths on there. The mechanic guy that lives is just pounding him like, why did you do this? Why'd you let these people die? This is your fault. You could have taken him down. He couldn't have taken down Godzilla with that gun, but we don't need to know that. Sorry, getting off of a cold. So, yeah, and then he comes back to his hometown, and his neighbor is like, this, look at around you, look at Japan, it's all broken, look at this is your fault because you didn't die for your country. Like, this is heavy stuff. And yeah, he's just such a torn character. He thinks he kills his best friend later in the movie. um, he's just, he can't do anything right, and but he does something right at the end of the movie. I'll tell you that without trying to spoil too much. He does something right. So it's just really, really satisfying to see this character have such a happy ending at the end. You really feel good for him, and yeah. So this movie, it is great all around. It has a great theme of war and internal war. So like in the beginning of the movie, uh, World War Two's over, and uh, he's he's having these nightmares of Godzilla in his head, and he tells his friend, I can't remember her name. I can't remember any of the names. He tells his friend, my war with Godzilla is not over yet. It's not over yet. It's not done yet. When that friend gets blasted into oblivion, uh, because he didn't save her, pretty much. Uh, so she's gone. She's wiped out. Um, Literally injured almost to death. Yeah. He is talking to his coworkers, the people that work on this boat with him, and he's telling them that his war isn't over, meaning his war inside himself. He feels guilty for all these things that he's done unintentionally, done to people, killed like 10 people unintentionally, like all this stuff. And what I didn't realize was, or didn't say was, I said he was guilty for all these deaths. Yeah, he probably feels guilty for the deaths that happened in Tokyo. Or, I think it's Tokyo. It's not Tokyo. I don't know what city it is. When Godzilla came and, like, destroyed the city. Yeah, he's responsible for those in his own mind, because he met up with Godzilla twice prior. If he would have killed him on Godzilla on one of those times, or even delayed him and came back and told everyone and they ran, yeah, he could have saved a lot of lives. So he's actually feeling guilty for those lives too. And so this is just crazy. And he's saying my war isn't over yet, meaning his conscious. And so his friend thinks his war is Godzilla. His coworkers think his war is internally. And so, spoilers ahead, okay? Skip to the bad if you don't want this movie to be spoiled. So, in the end, when he's reunited with his friend, the girl, in the movie, okay? There's like one main girl in the movie, her. I don't know her name. He tells her, she asks him when he walks in, is your war over? And he says, yes, it is. She had no idea what he was talking about with his internal war. She just thought the Godzilla war. And it just means so much to him. It means so much to the viewers. And you're just like, wow, this is great.
Now that we're done with the good, let's get into the bad.
This movie does a lot right and very little wrong. There's a few minor things I had just nitpicking almost at this point about this movie. The main thing that stuck out was there's in the beginning of this movie there's just like this weird montage and like there's this part where the main character is like, is this a dream? Is this real? Is this, or am I dead? Am I dead? Did Godzilla kill me? And is this just a dream I have? Am I really in Japan, or am I stuck on this island? He's going through that, and then like 2 scenes later, there's this like montage with like happy music going on, but this character is just like extremely broken. Just like this montage with happy music. Just thought that was super weird and really odd placed. You could still put that in the movie, but you need to maybe change some scenes around and it still makes sense, or just cut the weird happy montage out entirely. That being fine. And then the other issue I had, I really only had 2 things with this movie. The other issue I had was the score. I thought the score was pretty good, but I felt like in the best moments of this movie, where they're taking down Godzilla, or Godzilla's taking them down, they could have had a really good chance to bring some really great music into there, but they instead do a revamped version of the old Godzilla theme. So they took a little creativity out of the movie, and it just kind of feels like they were like, oh, we were paying homage or whatever they call it. We're showing respect to the old Godzilla, and you could just play it off like that, but it just feels like they're being lazy with it, instead of making something more new with the score or theme. And that was the only really 2 issues I had with this. My weekly movie reviews so far all have been black and white, Japanese with subtitles and really good movies. So I think the next movie will break that streak, though. Godzilla Minus One is a truly great movie. It took this franchise that is big and it's known for trying to one up itself with each movie. So it just is like this diluted movie, like plot and characterized, just with like the giant monsters attacking cities and stuff. Uh, I haven't seen the other Godzilla movies, so I wouldn't know. I've just heard that from uh, people, but this took it just down to the basics. Even I haven't seen those other movies, but I can just know it took it down to the basics, and it just told a character and story driven story, character and plot driven story. Sorry, uh, and it has this giant monster Godzilla as the antagonist of the story, which is just a really great idea. The setting's great, the story's great, the plot is great, the characters are great, and yeah, I have very few issues with this movie.